Okay, hello guys. So we start recording the lesson from this moment. I hope you guys are good. Hello Shadi. Hello Elisangela. Again, there's a message from Elisangela. Okay. All right. Okay. Elisangela, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the message, or muito obrigado pela mensagem. I also speak Brazilian Portuguese. I think you are Brazilian from your surname. I think you're Brazilian. If you speak Brazilian Portuguese, please send me a message. Let me know in the chat. De nada que agradeço. Obrigado. Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, so I think, Elisangela, you are a mediator from Italian to Portuguese and then Portuguese to Italian. Do you speak other languages? Do you speak other languages? Or você fala outro idiomas? Do you speak other languages? Okay, let me know. Let me know in the comments. All right, very, very good. So in the first part of the lesson today, we are going to watch a video. When we had our first lesson together, we talked about TED Talks. You know the website, probably you know the platform, TED.com. TED.com is a platform where you can watch videos on literally any topic. These videos are about languages, work, about, oh, you only speak Portuguese now. Okay. Okay. Elisangela, can you speak Italian? No Italian? Zero? Can you speak English? Well, a little. I think you speak English, okay, because you understand my questions. So let me know in the comments if you speak Italian, if you can speak Italian. Portuguese is a beautiful language. I think Portuguese is one of the most beautiful languages in the world, together with Arabic. In another life, I'll learn Arabic and I'll learn how to speak Portuguese fluently. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. So you speak Italian very well. Okay, so don't say I only speak Portuguese. You speak Italian and Portuguese. Well done. That's already two very useful languages. Also because there are many people from Brazil, as you know already, that come to Italy for the citizenship. Citizenship in English means cittadinanza or cidadania. So many people come to Italy for the citizenship from Brazil, especially from São Paulo, because many people in the city of São Paulo, so São Paulo cidade, e também, sorry, and also the region of São Paulo, they have Italian origins, yeah? Oh, very nice. Okay. So Elisangela said in the comment, I work with Portuguese and also with the Italian languages. So I can work also with Africans who speak Portuguese and also with Brazilians. All right, you're from Curitiba. Curitiba é Nordeste? Acho que sim, né? I think Curitiba is a city in the northeast of Brazil. Oh, no, sorry, south. Oh, south of Brazil. Okay. So is it like the German part of Brazil? Is it very, very German? Yeah, exactly. A small Europe. I know many people come from Poland. So in the south of Brazil, you have Polish. surnames, you have German surnames, you have Dutch surnames. Yeah. It's a little Europe. You're right. But you've been in Italy for 26 years. Okay, congratulations. Wow, that's a very, very long time. So you are Italian and Brazilian at the same time. I have some friends from Brazil. Some of them are from Rio de Janeiro, some of them are from São Paulo. Okay, Japanese, Italians, Germans, and French origins. Okay. Very nice. Very interesting. Yeah, very, very interesting city. Wow. You grew up surrounded by a mix of cultures. That's beautiful. That's fantastic. So that's really, really good. You're very, very lucky. I have some friends from Villa Velha, and there's also, I know there is in the south of Brazil, there's a region. I don't remember the name of the region. I think it's called Rio Grande do Sul, where people speak Italian, which is an old language that originated from Italian immigrants that moved from Veneto to Italy. So, oh, Rio Grande do Sul. Isso mesmo. And they speak this mix of Italian, Portuguese, and the dialect from Venezia, from Venice, or from Veneto. Do you also speak Italian? Maybe? Because I have a friend who lives not far from my house. It's like 20 minutes from my house, and he speaks Italian. Uh, Muito obrigado. Okay, my Portuguese is good. Thank you very much. I don't think so. I don't think so, but I think I can improve a lot. I can improve a lot. Thank you very much. All right, excellent. Very good. Thank you for interacting in the chat. You are making this lesson more lively. Excellent. I'm sorry you're busy, but now, as I said before, we are going to watch a video together. So this is TED Talk. So this is a TED Talk. It's taken from the platform. I will share the link with you later in the chat. We are going to watch this video. Why? The title of this video is How Language Shapes the Way We Think. Or in Italian, that would be come una lingua, how would that be? Shapes. Come una lingua forma il modo in cui pensiamo. So it's a very interesting video. Elisangela, you're saying that your English is bad? I don't think so. I need to learn, but you work a lot. Okay. You mean that you miss a lot of opportunities, but you think in Italian and you translate into Portuguese. That's absolutely normal. But I also think that with your Portuguese, you can help immigrants, as you said before, from Angola. You can help immigrants from Mozambique. You can help immigrants from Guinea-Bissau. These are, I think, the three countries. Capo Verde also. Capo Verde. They also speak Portuguese and a sort of Creole. So you can already help all these people from Africa. There is also a very tiny region in China that speaks Portuguese. I think it's Macau. I think there's also this very tiny region in China that speaks Portuguese. I know that sounds crazy, like Chinese people speaking Portuguese as a first and second language. Many people from Capo Verde, where you live. Where are you from, Elisangela? I mean, where do you live in Italy? Do you live in the north of Italy, the center, the south? What's your region? What's your city? Okay, let me know in the comments in the chat. And of course, you can help all your Brazilian friends. your Brazilian people. And where else is Portuguese spoken? Well, Portugal, of course, the island of Madeira. And yeah, so with Portuguese and Italian, you can already help a lot of people. But of course, noi siamo come il prezzemolo. All right, of course, you're like parsley. Yeah, you're everywhere. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And many Brazilians, as I was saying before, they have Italian origins. So they come to Italy also for their documents. They spend 2-3 months in Italy and they get the cittadinanza, they get the citizenship very, very easily, very fast. You live in the north, province of Lodi, but you work in Milan. Okay, I can imagine there is a very big Brazilian community in Milan. Oh, Milan is a very big city. I think there is also a very famous Brazilian Japanese restaurant in Milan that makes like Brazilian sushi. That's a very interesting one. I've never been, but I would love to go one day. Yeah, so that's super interesting. Yeah, but of course, if you improve your English, if you study English, you will have more job opportunities. With the English language, you can work with people from Nigeria, from Ghana. You can work with people from Namibia, Botswana, South Africa, and a lot of other like Sierra Leone. También they speak also they speak English and a sort of Creole as well. What other countries speak English? So also Gambia, they speak French, but like some people speak also good English. So yeah, English, Portuguese, and Italian would give you a lot of work, a lot of job opportunities. So I'm happy that you connected. Maybe you can listen to the lesson a little bit. Again, thank you for interacting in the chat. I really appreciate it. Um, okay, yeah. So getting the Italian citizenship now will be more difficult, as Elisangela is saying in the chat. The new law, oh, maximum 2 generations. All right. But they always find a way to come to Italy. Okay, interesting. Oh, I didn't know there was a new law. I didn't know about it. So thanks for sharing that in the chat. So now only 2 generations. Before it was 4 generations? Okay, yeah, of course. Now only if you're basically you can get the Italian citizenship only if your parents are Italian or if your grandparents are or were Italian. But I think that before it was basically everybody. If you had Italian ancestors, antenati, that was enough. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, correggimi pure se sbaglio. But I think that before, if you had your great grandparents who were Italian, then you could get the citizenship. Oh, even 5 generations before, anche 5 generazioni. All right, so that before it was very easy, very easy. But when did the law change? When did the law change? Quando è che mudò a lei? Quando è a lei? I think. Quando è cambiata la legge? Is it now with the referendum? Or, okay, the 28th of March. The 28th of March. Okay, so that's a very recent. So I think that a lot of Brazilian or even a lot of South Americans now they're a bit worried. They are a bit concerned because I also know there is I had a student before because I also teach Italian, insegno anche italiano a stranieri. So I was teaching a lady from Peru. Her husband had Italian great-grandparents and they got the Italian citizenship last year. Hanno preso la cittadinanza l'anno scorso, okay? So they were just right on time. There was no referendum, but a decree, okay, decreto. All right. Okay, so it was a decree that was wanted by the majority. Okay. All right, I understand. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is very, very interesting. Very interesting, and it's really helpful for, I mean, it's really helpful to know, to have these information because of your job. Yeah, and I think it's interesting also for the other students. Okay. There's another person who connected, Trim. Trim. I don't know your name. Trim is a word in English. Trim è un verbo in inglese. To trim significa tipo tagliare, come radersi la barba. Okay, to trim. Okay, so maybe if you can't open your microphone, let me know in the comments. Okay. Oh, this is the okay. So thank you very much, Elisangela. This is a very interesting conversation that we are having in the chat. So thanks for that. So this is also valid for all the Italian descendants in Argentina. And I think that this new decree that was issued on March the 28th will especially affect people in Argentina because half of the population in Argentina has Italian origins. Yeah, 50%. 50% of Argentinians have Italian surnames. They had Italian ancestors. As you said before, Elisangela, even fifth generation. Yeah, but now it's only your parents and your grandparents. Okay. Okay, so literally anyone. So this is a big change, a big change. As of March 28th, 2025, you can get Italian citizenship. Yeah, only if your parents or grandparents, so only first and second generation, Italian generation can get the citizenship. Okay, that's a big change that will affect a lot of people. Okay, Elisangela, thank you very much. I can tell that you do your job with a lot of passion and that you sound very professional, very, very professional. I can tell from all the information that you shared. I can tell you do your job very well. Yeah, you are. Oh, no, obrigado. Yeah, it's my pleasure. Yeah, it's very interesting because during the lessons I have with my students, you learn from me, I learn from you. So it's an exchange that I really enjoy. So thank you very much for that. So as I was saying before, we are going to watch a video. This is an interesting video for all of you who are here today and all those who will watch the recording of the video. This video is entitled How Language Shapes the Way We Think. So, come il linguaggio cambia il modo in cui pensiamo. It's true that every language think, every people, every language, every country thinks in a different way. Maybe because of the grammar, different way of structuring sentences, different idiomatic expressions, proverbs. Yeah. So, for example, Elisangela before said, siamo come il prezzemolo. This is an idiomatic expression, un'espressione idiomatica in italiano. If we take siamo come il prezzemolo or sei come il prezzemolo and we translate it literally, word by word, into another language, it doesn't make sense. Why? Because it's an expression that is commonly used only in Italy, because Italians use a lot of parsley, prezzemolo, when they cook. So this expression really makes sense in Italian, and this expression, sei come il prezzemolo, tells us a little bit about the Italian culture, or let's say Italian cuisine. So Italians, they use a lot of parsley. Maybe there is a similar expression in another country, but maybe it's not parsley, non è prezzemolo, maybe it's cilantro or coriandolo. Maybe in Mexico they have a similar expression with coriander. Who knows? So we have all these idiomatic expressions in every language that tell us a little bit about the language, about the culture, about the way people think in that language. And this is something very, very interesting. Um, I know, I know that in Arabic, when you, oh yes, it's impossible to translate. Yeah, thank you very much, Elisangela. Queste affermazioni sono intraducibili. They are idiomatic expressions. So let me know, Elisangela, if you can think of an idiomatic expression in your language, in Portuguese, in your first language. So an expression that only makes sense in Brazilian Portuguese. I know, for example, in Arabic, unfortunately, Shadi is not here with us, but I know that in Arabic, when you really agree, quando sei molto d'accordo con qualcosa, dici dai miei occhi, like from my eyes. From my eyes, it means that you really agree with something or with somebody. That's a very interesting idiomatic expression, very poetic at the same time. Other idiomatic expressions in Italian, for example, cade a fagiolo. Yeah, that makes sense only in Italian. Or mi fai venire il latte alle ginocchia. Or sei come il prezzemolo, as we said before. Some of these expressions, some of these idiomatic expressions in English would be, for example, all'improvviso. In English, we say out of the blue, fuori dal blu, out of the blue. That doesn't really make sense in Italian. And these are all expressions that we can't translate literally. So it's very interesting to see how the way we speak influences also the way we think. So Elisangela wrote in the chat, "Nos estamos em todos os lugares. Siamo come prezzemolo dappertutto." Okay, so in Portuguese, you would say we are everywhere. We are everywhere. Let me see if I can find some Portuguese, maybe Brazilian Portuguese idiomatic expressions. All right. All right. So for example, I'm just using my best friend, Google. I don't know if Google is my best friend or my worst enemy. Okay, hello Trim. Castrati. All right. Okay, so thanks for putting your name there. Okay, and we also have Valbona here. Hi Valbona. How are you? Good to see you. All right, some idiomatic expressions. For example, to refer to a selfish people, una persona egoísta. In Portuguese, you say puxa saco, I think, or to say it's too late, you would say agora Inés é morta. Okay, so these are idiomatic expressions in Brazilian Portuguese. Let me know in the comments, Elisangela, if they make sense for you. Now Shadi is not here with us. I mean, he can't open the microphone. Maybe later he will add more idiomatic expressions in Arabic. Later we are going to have a look at some idiomatic expressions also in English. Hello, Valbona. I don't know if you can interact with us. Maybe no. If you can't, just write in the comments. Just write in the chat. So thank you very much. So we're going to start with this video. It's a 14-minute video that we are going to watch now together. I've put Italian subtitles to the video so that if you're going to watch the recording, you'll be able to listen over and over again and read the subtitles below if it is too difficult to understand. We're going to watch the video, then we're going to have maybe some questions and a conversation on what you think about the video, and let's see how it goes. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you now. All right, so as I said before, this is a TED Talk. I will share also the link in the chat in case you want to have a look at it later. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna make sure you can all see it and it fits on the screen. Okay, excellent. So let's watch the video together. Please give me a thumb up if you can hear the sound well. We're gonna start the video now. It's about a 14-minute video. After the video, we're gonna have a discussion, a conversation about it. Okay, let's start. All right, very good. Let me just unshare the screen now. All right, excellent. So I think this was a very interesting video, especially if you're a language interpreter, if you're a language mediator. This video really helps you understand how two different languages can structure sentences in two completely different ways. I really liked the example. I'm just gonna share the screen with you so that you can follow through. Okay, so I'm just gonna share the screen with my notes. Okay, here I'm just gonna make it slightly smaller. All right, just give me a second. All right, excellent. Okay, I can see there is also Fabiana now, Valbona, we said it before, Elisangela, Trim, and also Shadi. Let me know in the chat if you liked the video, if you didn't like it, and maybe what you liked and what you didn't like about the video. I really liked the example of the vase. So in English, you would say, he broke the vase. Yeah, he broke the vase. Or you can also say, he has broken. Okay, he has broken the vase. So this is a very natural way of saying it. And what's interesting about this sentence is that English focuses a lot on who did what. So on who performed the action. This is the focus in English. English focuses on who. So the person, let's say, or the animal or whatever, who performed the action. So this is very, very important in the English language. While other languages, and the video made the example of Spanish, I think. I don't speak Spanish, but maybe, I don't know, Elisangela, maybe Portuguese is a bit similar to Spanish here. I think that it would be very natural to say in English, in Portuguese, maybe you would say something like se quebrou o vaso, I think. So I think you can also say ele quebrou o vaso, I think, but I think it's more natural to put it this way. And this is a very interesting thing. Yeah, imagine you are in the court, tribunale, and you are translating something very, very serious. And you can immediately see here how two different languages focus on two different aspects of the same scenario, of the same situation. The English language focuses on who did the action, while the Portuguese or the Spanish or maybe even other late Latin languages, they focus on the fact that it was an accident. Se quebrou o vaso, meaning that the vase broke. It's not necessarily important to know who did it because it was an accident. So we can see how it really shapes language. A language really shapes the way we think. There was also an interesting quotation by I think Carlo Magno. It was at the beginning of the video. So he said, to have a second language means to have a second soul. To have a second language means to have a second soul. What does that mean in Italian? It means avere una seconda lingua, or maybe we could say parlare una seconda lingua. Significa avere una seconda anima. Now, I speak two languages. I'm bilingual, English and Italian. And honestly, when I speak English, I am more direct. When I speak Italian, I use more shades of the language. I'm less direct. I'm maybe even a bit more polite. I think that's also because of the English language. I think the English language is a simple language. I think it has less vocabulary than Italian, less words. And I think that English speakers tend to be more direct than Italian speakers. Yeah. Or for example, just to give an example, in Japanese, I think there are 7 different words to say yes. And in Japanese, you always say yes to something, even when your answer is no, because it's considered very unpolite, scortese, to say no in Japanese. So people always say yes, even when they mean no. So we see how the way a culture, the way people think, a nation thinks, really changed the language, really influenced the language. It's very interesting. Like here in this class, we have many people who speak different languages. Oh, we also have Midori. Midori, you are Japanese, I think. Or you have Japanese origins. Uh, it would be very interesting for me to know if it's correct to say that in Japanese there are different words to say yes, even when your answer is no, because it's very impolite to say no in Japanese. I know also that in Japanese there are different degrees of formality. So in Italian, we only have dare del tu e dare del lei. In Japanese, we have different levels of that don't exist in Italian. So please, Midori, if you want to write in the chat, maybe if you can't open the if you can open the microphone, maybe you can write in the chat and let me know what you think. Also, Elisangela, you speak Italian and you speak Portuguese. Do you agree? Do you agree? Sei d'accordo? Do you agree with the statement to have a second language means to have a second soul? Do you agree with that? Also, Balbona, I don't remember. I think you speak Italian and Albanian. Do you agree? Are you different when you speak Albanian compared to when you speak Italian? Do you feel like you are a different person and maybe you have a different personality? Yeah. So Elisangela, you said assolutamente sì, absolutely yes. Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you for the comment, and maybe you want to add maybe an example. So how are you different in Portuguese compared to Italian? Are you more relaxed in Portuguese? Are you more direct in Portuguese? Are you more direct in Italian? Acquisire una nuova identità. Okay, yeah, of course. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Elisangela. When you speak another language, sometimes you become another person. Yeah, you become a different person. You might be more confident, più sicuro di te, in one language than the other. I'm not necessarily referring to the proficiency, to the fluency. Non mi riferisco solo alla fluenza o al controllo che abbiamo della lingua, but you really become a different person. You really become a different person when you speak a different language. Now, also Fabiana here, I don't know what languages you speak, Fabiana. For sure, if you're here, you speak two languages at least, maybe Italian and another language. So also let me know in the comments. So to have a second language means to have a second soul. Well, as I said, I agree. I agree with these statement here. So I think that we can all reason on this, and I think these can also oh, thank you for the heart, Elisangela. I think these can also, it's important to keep these in mind when we work as a language mediator. Yeah, as language mediators, we jump from one language into another every day. And we need to remember that we are not only translating words. We can't. We can't do that. So when we are jumping from one language into the other, we are jumping from one culture into another culture. We are jumping from one background into a different background. We are jumping between different levels of education. Did the person go to school? Did the person have access to education at all? So interpreting involves more than knowing the grammar. Interpreting involves knowing the identity of the culture. Oh, thank you, Midori, for answering my question. I agree. I think that the language influences the personality. Yeah, that's really true. Thanks for sharing that. Elisangela, you said it's extremely important to maintain your own language, but also to learn to acquire the language of the country where you're living. And that's extremely important to live in the country and to integrate, to fully integrate in the country. Absolutely, yes. I think learning the language is the first thing a person has to do when the person moves to the different country. Yeah, even if you move to Northern Europe, for example, where the majority of people speak English, it's important to learn the local language if you really want to be part of something. Yeah, if you really want to connect with locals. Midori said I in Italian and I in Japanese, so like io, they are different. Oh, that's really interesting. What do you mean, Midori? What do you mean by that? Can you make an example? I know maybe this is very difficult. Yeah, I don't know what languages you speak. Maybe you also speak Italian. I don't know if you speak for sure you speak Italian. Maybe you also speak English a little bit. So io, Italian io and Japanese io are different. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. Okay, so maybe if you can build on that, so if you can expand that a little bit more in the comments, that would be super interesting. Super interesting for everybody. Yes. So this is a lot of food for thoughts, okay? For especially because we're here and because we are mediators and because we work with different cultures. Me myself, I've had experiences interpreting from English into Italian and Italian into English, but especially working with people who speak Pidgin English, Nigerian Pidgin English, which is a broken language. And the interesting thing about Pidgin English is that sometimes there's no past, there's no present, there's no future in the language, but the past, the present, and the future is understood with words that refer to the past, to the present, and to the future. Okay, so sometimes you have to shift your way of thinking and try to really understand. We have, as interpreters, as mediators, we have to focus on what the person is trying to say. Sometimes what the person is saying is not literally what the person is trying to say, is trying what message the person is trying to convey. So Elisa Angela is saying, I have two children, I have two sons. One is 20 and the other one is 17 years old. Both of them speak and write in Portuguese. So I have decided to pass on the Brazilian language, the Portuguese language, and at the same time also Brazilian traditions, because I think that is a really valuable inheritance. And I agree with you, Elisangela, 100%. I think your sons, your two sons, are very, very lucky. Are very, very lucky to because they have been raised, because they grew up in a bilingual environment. You said you've been in Italy for 26 years. Your son, your eldest son is 20, so I guess he was born in Italy, maybe. They were both born in Italy, so they went to school in Italian, they studied in Italian, but they have Italian friends, but they kept their roots uh, within the house, in the family. Yeah, so they spoke Portuguese with you. You taught, probably you personally taught them how to write in Portuguese, because I know that one thing is speaking Portuguese, one thing is writing. There's a lot of chi, yeah, that's not very clear sometimes, especially if your first language. is Italian. So well done, Elisangela. That's a lot of work. Yeah. And you're saying that you basically only speak Portuguese with them. And that's really good. Yeah, because they have learned Portuguese just by speaking it. Yeah, without studying it, without a real didactic approach. Okay, so that's fantastic. Okay, guys, so thank you very much. We're going to have our first break now. We're going to stop for 15 minutes. Okay, so maybe you can have a coffee, you can relax, you can keep on doing the things you were doing before. I don't know, cleaning the house, whatever you're doing. We are going to meet again in 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm just gonna write here. The break is going to be from 3:15. We're gonna meet again in 15 minutes. All right, so 15 minutes from now. Uh, okay, guys, so I'm just gonna close the video and everything. You can still interact with each other. Okay, so feel free to open your mics, feel free to write in the chat, okay, and interact with the other people, with your colleagues, with your mates in the class. All right, guys, so I'll see you in 14 minutes from now. Thank you very much for all your comments. See you later. All right, very good. So we are back. We're gonna start now. It's 3:30. So we are going to have another break in about 50 minutes, maybe 1 hour. It depends on how the lesson goes, really. So we were talking about how languages in general, they shape the way we think. So now we're going to have a look at some idiomatic expressions in English. I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, so you can all see my screen now. We have 8 idioms, 8 idiomatic expressions in English. So let's read them together. Sentence number 1 says, at the end of the meal, we decided to go Dutch, which literally means andare olandesi, diventare olandesi. So that doesn't really make sense in Italian, for example. So let's read all the idiomatic expressions now, and then once we have a clearer idea of all these expressions, we'll look at their definitions. So again, the first one says, at the end of the meal, we decided to go Dutch. So imagine you are at the restaurant, you eat something with your friends, and then when it's time to pay the bill, so when it's time to pay for what you have eaten, somebody says, okay, guys, let's go Dutch. What does that mean? Let's think about it. Number 2, if you want to win the argument, you should stick to your guns. If you want to win the argument, you should stick to your guns. Stick to your guns means literally restare attaccati alle proprie pistole. So if you want to win the argument, se vuoi vincere la discussione, dovresti rimanere attaccato alle tue pistole. That's another idiomatic expression in English. 3, thank you for all your help. I hope someday we can return the compliment. Thank you for all your help. I hope someday we can return the compliment. Grazie per tutto il tuo aiuto. Spero che un giorno noi possiamo ritornare il complimento. This is more similar maybe to Italian. Maybe there's something in Italian that that could work in these sentence. But let's keep it there for a second. Let's have a look at number 4. Number 4 says, the politician managed to save face by escaping blame for the mistake. Il politico è riuscito a salvare la faccia evitando la colpa per l'errore fatto. This is I think this is exactly what we have also in Italian, salvare la faccia. So this is an easier idiom to understand for Italian speakers. Number 5, everyone at the party was wearing special costumes, and we had to follow suit. We had to follow suit. Quindi tutti alla festa indossavano un costume speciale e abbiamo dovuto seguire il vestito. Suit è il vestito elegante, di solito da uomo. So we had to follow suit. Number 6. During the negotiation, they decided to give ground in order to reach an agreement. Durante la negoziazione, loro hanno deciso di dare terreno così da raggiungere un accordo. Number 7, we were wined and dined all over the city. Difficile da tradurre, siamo stati uh, mm, cenati e riempiti di vino, wined, ok? Vinati, letteralmente, e cenati, per tutta la città. What does that mean? I was trying to be polite, stavo cercando di essere gentile, but he got the wrong idea. He got the wrong idea, ma ha avuto una idea sbagliata. Okay? This is also something that is very similar in Italian. So let's have a look at all the different definitions here. So letter A says, change your position in order to make it easier to reach an agreement. Quindi cambiare la propria posizione così da rendere il più facile raggiungere un accordo. Letter B, do something for someone because they have done something for you. Fare qualcosa per qualcuno perché loro hanno fatto qualcosa per te. Letter C, do what other people are doing. Fare quello che stanno facendo gli altri. Letter D, keep your position even if people try to criticize you. Mantieni la tua posizione anche se le persone provano a criticarti. Letter E, misunderstood, frainteso. Letter F, pay 50% of the bill each, pagare il 50% del conto ciascuno. G, protect your reputation, proteggere la propria reputazione. And H, taken out for expensive meals, essere portato fuori per dei pasti costosi. Okay, so now I'm going to give you 2 minutes and I want you to try to link the numbers with the letters. So I want you to try and link the idiomatic expressions with their definitions. Now, unfortunately, we don't have an interactive class here. I wanted to put you in different rooms so that you could have worked together in pairs or in groups of 3. We can't do that here now. So my idea was that you work on this individually if you want. And then once you're done, in 2-3 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, you can share the results. So you can share your answers in the chat in a very simple way. You just put the number and the letter. So let's do the first one together, just as an example. Number 1 said, at the end of the meal, we decided to go Dutch. What is the meaning of going Dutch? Well, going Dutch means to pay 50% of the bill each. So every person pays, so one person pays 50% and the other person pays 50%. So it's very similar to what we say in Italian, fare la romana. Okay, so what I'm going to write in the chat is number 1 with letter F. Okay, so sentence number 1 with definition F. I'm going to give you 3 minutes from now. Try to work from 2 to 8 and A to H. Once you have your answers, you can write them on a piece of paper and then maybe you can also write them in the chat if you want. Okay, so 3 minutes from now, and then we'll look at the answers together. All right. So let's have a look at the sentences together. I haven't received your answers in the chat, so we're going to do it together now. Number 2 says, if you want to win the argument, you should stick to your guns. You should stick to your guns. That could be, you keep your position even if people try to criticize you. So, as we said before, number 1 goes with letter F, and I would put number 2 with letter D. Sorry. Yeah, so letter F and letter D. Okay, so we have used letter D and letter F already. Number 3. Thank you for all your help. I hope someday we can return the compliment. That is, do something for someone because they have done something for you. So that would go with letter B. Number 4. The politician managed to save face by escaping blame for the mistake. So what does it mean to save face? Well, it means to protect your reputation. And as we said before, this is very similar to the Italian expression salvare la faccia. Okay, we say exactly the same in Italian, to protect your reputation, to protect our reputation. What other thing others think of us? So that would go, number 4 would go with letter G. Number 5. Everyone at the party was wearing special costumes, and we had to follow suit. Everyone at the party was wearing special costumes, and we had to follow suit. What does it mean to follow suit? Well, it means to do what other people are doing. Fare quello che stanno facendo gli altri. To do what other people are doing. In Italian, you would say like maybe something like to follow the crowd, seguire la folla, or something similar. So we're gonna put number 5 with letter C. Do what other people are doing. Number 6. During the negotiation, they decided to give ground in order to reach an agreement. They decided to give ground. What does that mean? To give ground means to change your position. So to give space to the person, to change your position in order to make it easier to reach an agreement. So that would go with letter A there. Okay, so now we have only 2 letters left. We were wined and dined all over the city. We were wined and dined all over the city. Number 7. To be wined and dined means to be taken out for expensive meals. Imagine you are visiting your friends in New York, and your friends decide to take you to the restaurant, maybe a very nice, very fancy restaurant, and they pay for the bill, they pay for everything. You are their guest, and that's a very nice thing a friend could do for you. So number 7 goes with letter H. And number 8, I was trying to be polite, but he got the wrong idea. I was trying to be polite, but he got the wrong idea. Avere l'impressione sbagliata, okay? So that means to misunderstand, fraintendere, okay? So that would go with letter E. Okay. So now we move to the next part. We're going to read an article together. But before we read these articles together, we are going to look at some sentences. And I would like to know if you think these sentences are true or false. There's no right or wrong at this moment, non c'è risposta giusta o risposta sbagliata, vediamo quello che ci viene in mente leggendo queste frasi, se le frasi sono giuste, sono vere o false. Poi leggeremo un articolo che ci darà un'idea migliore. Number one says, in Singapore, so in Asia, Singapore, the word no is considered impolite. A Singapore la parola no è considerata scortese. What do you think? Is that true? Is that false? Number two, in Greece, you should nod your head upwards to say yes. In Grecia dovresti muovere la testa su e giù per dire sì. Like this. Come facciamo in Italia? Is it true or false? Vero o falso? Number three, in Italy, it is a bad idea to turn up late for a meeting. In Italia è una cattiva idea arrivare in ritardo ad una riunione. What do you think? You're all from Italy, you all live in Italy. What do you think about this one? Number four, in the Netherlands, it is a bad idea to turn up late for a meeting. So what about the Netherlands? In Olanda, nei Paesi Bassi, è una cattiva idea arrivare tardi ad una riunione. Number five, in Japan, the business card is very important and should be treated with respect. So this one is about Japan. Who knows? Maybe Midori, you can share what you think in the chat. Maybe you know this one. It says, in Giappone, il biglietto da visita è molto importante e dovrebbe essere trattato con rispetto. Okay, so let us know, Midori, if you know more, about how the business card is viewed, is seen in Japan. Number six, in Russia, you should not argue during business deals. In Russia non si dovrebbe litigare durante rapporti di business, durante gli affari. Number seven, in Turkey, you should not insist on sharing the restaurant bill with your host. In Turchia non dovresti insistere nel dividere il conto al ristorante con il tuo host, sarebbe la persona che ti ospita. 8. In Mexico, you should be careful about proposing dinner arrangements with your client. In Messico dovresti fare attenzione per quanto riguarda proporre programmi per la cena con un cliente. Something that is very, very common in Italy might be misunderstood, potrebbe essere fraintesa in Mexico. What do you think? True or false? So let me know what you think in the comments there. We have one message from Midori. Okay, so I think so. So we are talking about Japan. Midori, I guess you're from Japan, yeah? And the sentence number 5 said, in Japan, the business card is very important and should be treated with respect. Midori said, I think so, because they give a lot of importance to form, la formalità, yeah? To formality, okay? La forma delle cose. Okay, that's very interesting. And Midori, have you how long you lived in Japan? Have you ever lived in Japan, or you were born in Italy? Are your parents Japanese and they moved to Italy, or you came to Italy as an adult? Like as a maybe to study, to go to university, or maybe for other reasons. So, do you have a strong Japanese background, or is just the country of your parents? Yeah, this is really what I'm trying to ask. Okay, so thank you very much. If you'd like to answer that, let me know in the chat. Okay, so we are going to read this article now from the Independent. Well, I am going to read. I'd like to read that with you. I'd like to make you read out loud, but that's not an option today, apparently. So we are going to read this article together. I'm going to read it for you, and then hopefully we'll talk about it a little bit in the chat. So, cultural know-how. Learning about a country's culture can help you secure good working relations on your travels. So we're going to start with number one. Do you arrive 10 minutes early for an important business meeting in Rio or 10 minutes late in Amsterdam? In Moscow, is it a good idea to give ground at an early stage of the negotiations? And in Istanbul, should you offer to go Dutch with the host on the restaurant bill? Paragraph 2. Mastering the local etiquette can be more valuable than learning the language because so much of the world does business in English or a form of English. Be aware that an English word or phrase doesn't always mean the same thing abroad, warns Michael Bennett, who sells security systems in Southeast Asia. In Japan and Singapore, people feel that no is an impolite word and will sometimes say yes to avoid causing offense. What they really mean is, I understand what you're saying, not I agree. I'm told that in Indonesia, there are 12 words for yes that mean precisely the opposite. That's interesting. Number 3. Even the movement of your head can be open to misinterpretation. Publisher Robin Touquet has had difficulties in Athens. The Greeks traditionally use an upward nod of the head to say no, and a tilt of the head from side to side to mean yes. I was ready for that, but didn't realize the younger generation have learned to do it our way. Confusion all around. If in doubt, keep still. So if you don't fully understand the article, then we're going to talk about it, so don't worry. I'm just going to read it through for now. Number 4, the issue of punctuality is almost as complicated. Oil company executive Malcolm Thornburn, deliberately turns up a few minutes late for meetings in Brazil. Okay, so Elisangela, this is for you. Because Brazilians believe latecomers are more likely to be commercially successful than people who arrive early. They are impressed by people who are relaxed enough not to worry about the clock. The Italians take a similar attitude. They believe that arriving late shows who is the boss. However, don't risk that in the Netherlands. The Dutch frown upon lateness, warns film finance agent James Hindle. They believe that people who can't use their time wisely cannot be trusted. Hindle has also experienced the ceremony of exchanging business cards in Japan. The business card is seen as representing the individual, so the whole affair has to be treated with respect. You must accept your client's card with both hands, perhaps admiring it, and then place it carefully in your card holder. The social side of Japanese commerce can also unnerve the Western visitor. You might have to go to a karaoke bar and sing. Many Japanese businessmen like to conclude business by performing their favorite song in a karaoke bar, says management trainer Nicole Wedden. You're expected to follow suit. In Russia, the ritual of the business meeting is more theatrical skill. I've seen temper tantrums, sudden walkouts, table thumping, and so on. But it's all part of the fun, says Michael Bennett. And they admire you more if you stick to your guns. Seeking a compromise early is seen as a sign of weakness. Number 8. In almost every business community around the world, the host pays for the meal. Malcolm Thornburn was wined and dined in Istanbul, and all went well until he insisted on paying his share. It caused real embarrassment, he recalls. In Turkey, the idea of sharing a bill is quite alien. The best policy is to thank your host and return the compliment at the first opportunity. Insurance underwriter Toni Morrison caused supper time embarrassment in Mexico 5 years ago. I was working late with a client, and midway through the evening, I felt so hungry, I suggested we carry on working at a nearby restaurant. The client thought this was a sign I had a romantic interest in him. When I realized he'd got the wrong idea, I started to laugh, which made things even worse. The only way of getting out of it was to enable him to save face, so I accepted all the blame for the misunderstanding. Adapted from The Independent, June the 18th, 2007. What an interesting article, I think. I don't know if you agree, if you found it interesting. I wanted maybe to have a look at the second paragraph, which says that in Japan and Singapore, people feel that no is an impolite word. In Giappone e a Singapore le persone sentono che la parola no è molto scortese e a volte diranno sì, they will sometimes say yes to avoid causing offense. Diranno sì per non offendere nessuno. Ma quello che in realtà vogliono dire è capisco quello che stai dicendo, ma non sono d'accordo. So what they really mean is we are, just to give you, we are here. So what they really mean is I understand what you're saying, capisco quello che stai dicendo, ma non stanno dicendo sono d'accordo. So another interesting fact is that in Indonesia, there are 12 words for yes that mean precisely the opposite. Ci sono 12 parole in indonesiano per dire sì, ma che in realtà significano l'esatto contrario. Okay, that's an interesting fact. Another interesting fact about Greece is that in Grecia tradizionalmente si muove la testa dall'alto al basso per dire no, al contrario che in Italia. In Italia si dice sì, così, in Grecia si dice no e si dice sì poi scuotendo la testa a destra e a sinistra. Le persone più grandi, perché dice qua che poi the younger generation, la generazione più giovane, have learned to do it our way. Hanno imparato a farlo a modo nostro, nel nostro normale modo di non normale, modo diverso di fare. Ok? Quindi dice nel dubbio rimanete fermi. Keep still. If in doubt, keep still. Then there is another interesting fact about Brazil. Qua dice che to turn up a few minutes late for a meeting in Brazil, quindi presentarsi qualche minuto in ritardo a una riunione di lavoro in Brasile, non è visto come una cosa sbagliata, perché i brasiliani credono che chi arriva in ritardo più probabilmente avrà successo a livello commerciale rispetto alle persone che arrivano in anticipo. Sono impressionati dalle persone che sono abbastanza rilassate tanto rilassate da non preoccuparsi dell'orologio. E gli italiani hanno un'attitudine simile. So the Italians take a similar attitude. They believe that arriving late, loro credono che arrivare in ritardo shows who is the boss. Credono che arrivare in ritardo mostri chi è realmente il capo, il boss. Ok, that's interesting. We have a comment. Elisangela, that's very funny. Elisangela says, da noi è normale, gli ultimi saranno i primi. Okay, that's a very nice way to put it. Okay, thank you very much. I think Italians and Brazilians are very similar when it comes to our view of punctuality. Yeah, I think that the biggest difference is between Southern Europeans and Northern Europeans. So, for example, British people or Polish people, Poles, Germans, French people, Canadians, Americans also, they have a different concept of being on time. In Italy, for example, there is the famous quarto d'ora accademico. So if you are 15 minutes late, you don't even need to apologize. Non devi neanche scusarti per essere in ritardo 15 minuti, ok? Dicono, ok? Secondo me a livello lavorativo è importante essere sempre in orario e scusarsi anche per 2 minuti di ritardo, ok? But this is how I see it. Poi nella vita privata we can be more relaxed, I think. Then there is another interesting part. So thank you, Lisangela, for participating in the chat. I also wanted to look at the business card in Japan. So it said here that the business card is seen as representing the individual. Quindi la carta, come si dice, il biglietto da visita è visto come proprio una rappresentazione dell'individuo stesso. Quindi bisogna trattarlo con rispetto. You must accept your client's card with both hands. Devi accettare la carta, il biglietto da visita del tuo cliente con entrambe le mani. Devi anche ammirarlo, forse, per qualche secondo, like, wow, this is beautiful, fantastic, ok? E poi attentamente posizionarlo all'interno del tuo card holder, quindi portacarte o diciamo portafoglio. Okay. And here it says also something about the karaoke. I don't know if you, Midori, if you had a similar experience in Japan. Molti uomini d'affari giapponesi, many Japanese businessmen, like to conclude business, amano concludere gli affari facendo una performance della loro canzone preferita in un bar karaoke. So karaoke is very popular in Asia, in general. Yeah, I don't know many Japanese people, but I have many Filipino friends. So people from the Philippines, dalle Filippine, and there karaoke is extremely important. More in a family environment with friends, something to do to have fun, not necessarily in business in the Philippines. It is also very common in Indonesia as well. I think Southeast Asia in general likes karaoke, but I think in Japan it's more inside the business. Yeah, so if you go to the restaurant and you go to a karaoke bar with your boss, maybe. And that's why I think that it happens very often that employees get, get drunk because they are with their boss. So they get drunk at the bar or at the restaurant after work because they can't say no to the boss. Okay, so that's another interesting aspect of the culture. But please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, I don't want to sound like I know it all. Okay, so please, Midori, write in the chat, correct me if I'm being silly, if I say something stupid. Okay, that's very likely to happen. Okay, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so really a very interesting article. So if we go back to the sentences we looked at earlier, in Singapore, the word no is considered impolite. So now we know this is true. It's impolite. In Greece, you should nod your head like this to say yes. Well, no. If you nod your head like this in Greece, especially with older generations, that means no. That means the opposite. So I'm going to put false here. In Italy, it is a bad idea to turn up late for the meeting. This is also false. We have seen that in countries like Italy and Japan, it is okay to be late to a meeting, especially if you are the boss. So if you are the boss, you can turn up, you can show up at a meeting late, 15 minutes late, 20 minutes late. Nobody will complain, okay? In the Netherlands, it is a bad idea to turn up late for a meeting. Absolutely, yes. This is not something Dutch people like. In Japan, the business card is very important and should be treated with respect. 100% true. Very important. We even read that you must accept the card with both hands. Yeah, that's a way to show respect. Number 6, in Russia, you should not argue during business deals. Well, it's actually the opposite. This is false. The article said that some people, they get angry, they shout, they leave the room, lasciano la stanza, poi tornano, sbattono i pugni sul tavolo, urlano. Of course, guys, these are stereotypes. Ok, stiamo parlando di stereotipi. Ok, stiamo facendo di tutta l'erba un fascio. But it's interesting to see how different cultures think in different ways when it comes to business, for example. Number 7, in Turkey, you should not insist on sharing the restaurant bill with your host. 100% true. You shouldn't insist. If somebody wants to offer the dinner, for example, accept it. Accept it immediately. Then the next time, you'll be the one paying for the bill. So you can return the favor the following time, but let your host pay for the bill if he wants to. Don't insist. In Italy, this is a slightly different. In Italia, se una persona si offre di pagare per te, accettare immediatamente non è molto carino. C'è quel rituale in cui la persona prova ad offrire, l'altra prova a pagare, quei 2 minuti di rituale e poi si lascia pagare la persona che voleva pagare all'inizio o non lo so, dipende. In Turkey, you immediately say, thank you very much, ok? Prossima volta faccio io, ok? You accept immediately with your host. Number 8, it says here, in Mexico, you should be careful about proposing dinner arrangements with your clients. In Messico dovresti fare attenzione a proporre dei piani per la cena con il tuo cliente. This is true. So we said before the experience of, I think his name was Tony. He was working with a client and then he told him, okay, let's continue at the restaurant. And the client thought that was a romantic date. He laughed. It made things worse, and then he apologized. Okay, so if you want to avoid that, if you're in Mexico, don't just invite people over for dinner. All right. Now we are going to continue with the next one. All right. So here Oh yeah, I'm gonna do these here directly. Okay, not time for the break yet. I just wanted to look at some grammar now. So in English, we have some verbs that are called modal verbs. And I'm just going to mention some here because some of these modal verbs were in the article. Modal verbs like should or could, must, or have to. What is the meaning of should, for example? I'm just gonna put it, lo metto coniugato alla seconda persona, singolare, giusto per dare un'idea. Dovresti. Ok? Quindi you should, dovresti. Then we have you could, potresti. And then we have you must, devi, obbligo. And then you have to. Anche questo traduce l'italiano devi, ma è più una necessità. Più che un obbligo esterno, è un obbligo interno, un bisogno. Ok? These are just some modal verbs. Questi sono solo alcuni modal verbs. I modal verbs sono molto importanti. Should è molto importante, per esempio, per dare consigli. Dovresti fare questo, dovresti fare quest'altro. Could, potresti, possibilità. Usiamo could anche per essere più gentili. Invece di dire posso aprire la porta, dico potrei aprire la porta. Must per una regola. Immaginiamo che stiamo interpretando, stiamo traducendo e dobbiamo tradurre una cosa obbligatoria. Devi andare all'ufficio anagrafe a registrare questo foglio. You must go. You must go. Ok? Have to è una necessità. You have to go to the doctor. I have to go to the doctor. Devo andare dal dottore. I'm sick. I have to go to the doctor. Ok? Devo andare dal dottore. È una necessità che ho, una necessità interna, non un obbligo esterno imposto magari da una legge. Ok? One thing they have in common, una cosa che hanno in comune, should, could, must in particolare, è che il modal verb è seguito dal verbo, alla forma base. Ovviamente prima abbiamo sempre il soggetto, come abbiamo visto nel video, nel TED Talk di prima, he broke the vase, lui ha rotto il vaso, sempre lui, chi fa l'azione è sempre importante in inglese e viene sempre specificato con chiarezza. Perché? Perché i verbi sono tutti uguali. Se non specifico chi fa l'azione, non so, non capisco dal verbo chi sta veramente facendo quello che sto descrivendo. Differente questo in italiano, in portoghese, in altre lingue latine, dove per esempio il verbo è coniugato e io capisco e il soggetto della frase è sottinteso. Abbiamo fatto l'esempio anche nelle altre lezioni. Andiamo al mare, andiamo chi? Noi. Noi andiamo al mare. Non c'è bisogno che dico noi perché capisco da andiamo che sto parlando di noi. In inglese non è così. We go, you go, I go. Il verbo non cambia. Ecco perché ho bisogno sempre di avere un chiaro soggetto. Quindi subject, modal verb, and base form. Let's make some examples. Uh, let's imagine that you are with an immigrant and this person is sick and you say you should go to the doctor. Dovresti andare dal dottore. Ok? Qui stiamo dando un consiglio. You should. Dopo should c'è il verbo alla forma base senza il to, eh? Anche nel caso di have to, il to c'è già, ok? Quindi ce l'abbiamo già lì. You should go to the doctor. Dovresti andare dal dottore. Questo lo metto qua un po' più in piccolo. Metto la traduzione qua. Another sentence, questa volta facciamola con could. Facciamo una domanda, forse. Could I come with you? Could I come with you? Significato, potrei venire con te? Okay, so I'm just gonna put it here so that you see it clearly. Okay, could I come with you? Could, sempre seguito, ok, qui c'è il soggetto prima perché è una domanda, quindi inverto la posizione del soggetto e del modal verb, invece di dire I could come with you, potrei venire con te, dico could I come with you? Potrei venire con te. Quindi, come sempre, per formare una domanda in inglese non è abbastanza cambiare l'intonazione di quello che stiamo dicendo, come in italiano. Tu sei uno studente, tu sei uno studente? Cambio l'intonazione, stesso ordine delle parole nella frase, trasformo un'affermazione in una domanda. In inglese non funziona così, devo cambiare anche leggermente la struttura della frase. Ecco perché invece di avere I could come with you o could I come with you? Potrei venire con te. Proviamone adesso uno con must. Ehm, per esempio, una frase in generale, parliamo della scuola, ok? Visto che siamo in una lezione. Students must do their homework. Gli studenti devono fare i compiti. È una regola, ok? Un obbligo esterno, non è una necessità. Devono fare i compiti perché l'insegnante ha detto che devono fare i compiti. That's why I use must, seguito sempre dal verbo alla forma base. Students must do their homework, ok? Metto qua la traduzione. I loro compiti o i compiti. Ultima frase, have to. It's very late. Ok, it's very late, I have to go now. È molto tardi, devo andare. It's very late, I have to go now. And I'll put it is here as well. It's very late, I have to go now. So again, just to repeat what we just said, modal verbs, we have 4 examples here: should, could, must, and have to. You should, dovresti. You could, potresti. You must, devi. You have to, devi, necessità. Subject plus modal verb seguito dalla forma base del verbo senza il to. Examples: you should go to the doctor. Dovresti andare dal dottore. Could I come with you? Potrei venire con te. Students must do the homework. Gli studenti devono fare i loro compiti. It's very late. I have to go now. È molto tardi, devo andare adesso. Okay? So, that was good. That was 55 minutes. We're gonna take another short break. Maybe we can make it a little shorter than the one we had before. We can do 10 minutes only now. So it's 4:25. I'll see you again at 4:35. Okay, so we just had a look at some grammar rules. We'll do some practice after the break. We'll do some practice together. Okay, see you in 10 minutes. Okay, we're back. So now we're going to do some practice. We are practicing modal verbs, more specifically for the next 40 minutes, let's say, before the last break. We are going to practice should as a modal verb. We said before that should means you should means dovresti, and we use it more specifically to give advice, per dare consigli. I'm going to share my screen with you once again. And we're going to work on how to use should. We said before, you should translates dovresti, I should, dovrei, they should, loro dovrebbero, etc., etc. We know that should doesn't change, I modal verbs non cambiano, non c'è nessuna S per la terza persona, sono tutti uguali per tutte le persone. Per esempio, I should come with you, you should come with you. That doesn't make sense. He or she should come with you. We should, you should, they should. So it's always the same. There's no difference. There's no S for the third singular person, as we have in the present simple form of most verbs. Super easy. How do we make the negative form? To make it negative, we just add not. Should not. Even better, this becomes shouldn't. Should not becomes shouldn't. For example, you shouldn't go with them. You shouldn't go with them. Non dovresti andare con loro. You shouldn't go with them. Tu non dovresti andare with them con loro. You shouldn't go with them. Anche qui non cambia. We can say he shouldn't go with them. He shouldn't go with them. Lui non dovrebbe andare con loro. He shouldn't go with them. So let's use it as we said before to give advice. Should, to give advice. Quindi should per dare consigli. Immaginiamo diversi scenari. So let's think about different scenarios and let's see what advice you can come up with. So what advice you can give me in these different situations. Example, situation number 1. I want to lose weight. Voglio perdere peso. Oh, sorry. Lasti. I want to lose weight. Voglio perdere peso. Che consiglio potreste darmi? You should. E aspetto che lo completate voi. Secondo scenario. Second one. Gonna put number 2 here. Wait a second. I want to make new friends. Voglio farmi nuovi amici. Consiglio? You should. Another one. Number 3. I want to change my job. Voglio cambiare il mio lavoro. Voglio cambiare lavoro. I want to change my job. Or I want to find another job. I want to find a new job. Okay? Advice You should. I want to lose weight. Voglio perdere peso. I want to make new friends. Voglio farmi nuovi amici, stringere nuove amicizie. I want to find a new job. Voglio trovare un nuovo lavoro. Provate a darmi consigli utilizzando sempre you should. Dovresti, dovresti, dovresti. Ricordatevi, should è seguito dalla forma base del verbo, quindi il verbo preso all'infinito, però senza mettere il to. Quindi non dico mai you should to go, ma semplicemente you should go. Voglio perdere peso? Dovresti andare in palestra. Dovresti mangiare più verdure. Dovresti andare a correre. Dovresti, non lo so, contare le calorie. Boh, voi siete gli esperti, non lo so. I want to make new friends. Come faccio a farmi nuovi amici? Vi do qualche minuto, diciamo 4 minuti, per completare queste frasi. You should. Scrivete le frasi nella chat. Write the sentences in the chat, scrivete le frasi nella chat. Se siete qui, se state guardando invece la registrazione, scrivete le frasi su un foglio e poi tra 4 minuti proviamo a completarle insieme. Ok? You can start. Okay, so maybe you have completed the sentences yourself. Maybe not. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. So I want to lose weight. What advice would you give? In this scenario, you should go to the gym. You should count your calories. Or maybe you should do more, or maybe you should work out more. You should go to the gym, you should count your calories, you should work out more. You should eat more vegetables, more veggies. Okay, so you see the verb is always in the base form without to. You should go, you should count, you should work out, you should eat. Number two, I want to make new friends. You should start a new hobby. I don't know, maybe by starting a new hobby, you can be surrounded by different people, or maybe you should go out more. Dovresti uscire di più. You should go out more. That's also an option. Next one. You should go to the pub and talk. Go to the pub. And then maybe the last one could be you should talk to strangers. Dovresti parlare con gli sconosciuti. You should talk to strangers. You should go to the pub. You should go out more. You should start a new hobby. What do you think? Would that work? Number three. I want to find a new job. I want to find a new job. You should open a LinkedIn profile. Do you have a LinkedIn profile? Let me know in the comments. You should open a LinkedIn profile. Or what else? You should contact a job agency. Yeah, one of those offices, those agencies that help people find a job. You should update your CV, your resume, curriculum vitae. You should update your CV. You should tell your boss. You should tell, sorry. You should tell your boss. Yes, you should tell your current boss. Who knows? Maybe they could give you a raise. Yeah. Okay, maybe they would give you a raise to keep you in the company. All right. Now let's do some more practice together. There is a worksheet here. Let's have a look at the first four sentences. In this exercise, it says here, sottolinea l'opzione corretta in ogni frase. You have 4 sentences here. I'm going to give you 20 seconds each. So let's say about 1 minute to choose the correct option. And then we'll look at it together. Okay, so 1 minute from now, and then we'll check the exercise together. Okay, so let's try with the first one. I get more exercise, but I'm always so busy. I should get more exercise, but I'm always so busy. Number 2, cyclists ride their bike on the pavement, where cyclists shouldn't ride their bike on the pavement. Pavement is the British word for marciapiede. Number 3, you eat a lot of cakes and chocolate. It's bad for you. You shouldn't. Non dovresti mangiare molte torte e cioccolato. You shouldn't eat a lot of cakes and chocolate. It's bad for you. Number 4, this t-shirt is very dirty. You should wash it. You should wash it. This t-shirt is very dirty. You should wash it. Excellent. Now let's continue with the next 6. Sandra's always very tired. She shouldn't work so hard. Sandra è sempre molto stanca, non dovrebbe lavorare così tanto, così duramente. Number 6, you go to bed early tonight. You have got an important exam tomorrow. You should, tu dovresti andare a letto presto stanotte, hai un esame importante domani. You should go to bed early tonight. You've got an important exam tomorrow. Number 7, if you have a problem, you should talk to your parents. Se hai un problema, dovresti parlarne con i tuoi genitori. Number 8, people shouldn't feed animals in zoos. People shouldn't feed animals in zoos. Number 9, Eddie doesn't like his job. I think he should change it. Eddie, a Eddie non piace il suo lavoro, penso che dovrebbe cambiarlo. He should change it. And then the last one is number 10. This road is dangerous. You shouldn't drive so fast. This road is dangerous. You shouldn't drive so fast. Questa strada è pericolosa, non dovresti guidare così veloce. You shouldn't drive so fast. Okay. Let's have a look at the next sentences. Here we're going to add should or shouldn't together with the verb this time. Number 1. You more vegetables, it's good for you. What do you think that is? You should eat more vegetables. It's good for you. Number 2. Children, TV all day. Children should watch TV all day. Oh, sorry, no. Children shouldn't watch TV all day. Shouldn't. That's not good. Shouldn't watch TV all day. Number 3, we help mum with the housework. We should help mum with the housework. Number 4, you horrible to your sister. You should or you shouldn't? What do you think? You shouldn't be horrible to your sister. Number 5, Caroline shouldn't spend all her money on clothes. She's saving, sta risparmiando per la sua vacanza. So she shouldn't spend all her money on clothes. Number 6, you to work if you're not well. Non dovresti andare al lavoro se non stai bene. You shouldn't go to work. You shouldn't go to work if you're not well. Karen should visit her grandparents more often. Karen should visit her grandparents more often. Number 8, Steven should study harder if he wants to pass his exam. Should study harder if he wants to pass his exam. Let's have a look at the next one. Number 9. People shouldn't talk on their phones, on their mobiles, when they're driving. Non dovrebbero parlare al telefono mentre stanno guidando. Shouldn't talk. So people shouldn't talk on their mobiles when they're driving. 10. You late at school. You shouldn't arrive. You shouldn't arrive late at school. Okay. Very good. So now we're gonna try another exercise. Actually, we're gonna have a look at a video lesson. Okay, so we're gonna watch these 3-minute video as a review. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna watch this video together. I'm gonna share my screen with you and sound as well. It's a 3-minute video, just as a review of what we just said. Okay, let's watch it together.
Everybody, I'm back. This is Mark with another English lesson. And now we're going to look at these 2 words. You've seen them before, should and shouldn't. So I'll walk you through some examples for should and shouldn't. And these 2 words we use for when we're giving a recommendation, right? Something that we think is a good idea. So for today, we'll talk about Singapore. A lot of you are from Singapore, or maybe you want to come to Singapore. So when you come to Singapore, I think you should go to Universal Studios. It's very fun. It's not as big as like the American Universal Studios, or I think Japan has a Universal Studios in Osaka. It's not that, it's not that good, but it's still very, very fun. So I think you should go to Universal Studios. The other thing I think you should do is you should try chicken rice. It's a very special food in Singapore. We have very, very famous chicken rice. You can add chili to it. You can just really enjoy a Singaporean flavor if you enjoy chicken rice. So you should try chicken rice. And then one more. If you're in Singapore, it's more difficult for us to go out during lunchtime, right? Around noon, it's very, very hot. So I think you should go out in the evening. If you want to explore Singapore, then in the evening, it's much cooler, so you can enjoy yourself a little bit more. All right? So there's my should. Good idea. We can also use should in the negative. So should, good idea. Shouldn't, right, you got it. It's a bad idea. You shouldn't go out. If I say you shouldn't go out at noon, right? Singapore noon, we just said, way too hot. You shouldn't go out at noon. And, right, my coworker, he told me, right, Mark, you shouldn't drink coffee after 6. Some people, if they drink coffee in the evening, they cannot sleep. So this is very good advice. You shouldn't drink coffee after 6. So, as always, I'd love to see you guys using this grammar. Just remember, if you're using this grammar, a word like should is a special kind of verb. We need to use an infinitive after this, after the should, and after this verb, should go, should try, should be. Okay? Use your infinitive, simple version of the verb. But again, make your comment below. Give me an idea. Can you give me advice? What should I do? Right? What shouldn't I do? I'd love to see your comments below, and I'll see you next time.
Il processo in 4 fasi del tuo cervello che può farti iniziare a parlare inglese in soli 8 giorni. Stanno usando questo.
All right, so I hope you understood the video well. Okay, so that was just a review of what we looked at together. Now, let's continue with another topic. Well, another modal verb. Okay, so let's talk about must. We mentioned must before. We said we use must for rules. Okay, we use it for rules, for obligations. Just to make an example, in the negative form, maybe you mustn't. For example, you mustn't. Let me think. You mustn't smoke indoor. Tu non devi indoors. People mustn't. People mustn't smoke indoors. Le persone non devono fumare all'interno, okay? All'interno di un ristorante o di un edificio. So people mustn't smoke indoors. It's an obligation. It's a rule. We're gonna put it here. Obligations, rules, both in the, 1B, both in the affirmative form and in the negative form. Okay, an affirmative one would be they must come to work on time. Devono arrivare al lavoro in orario. They must come to work on time. It's an obligation. It's a rule. If they don't, they'll get fired. Se non arrivano in orario, vengono licenziati. Okay, so they must. And they must come to work on time, or they mustn't smoke indoors. So we see here, must is the affirmative form, while mustn't is just must plus not. Just like should plus not, it becomes shouldn't. Must plus not becomes mustn't. Okay, so that's how it works. People mustn't smoke indoors. They must come to work on time. Have to is different, especially, well, not very different in the affirmative form, but is particularly different when we use the negative form, don't have to. Because when we use don't have to, that means we are giving an option to the person. Just to make an example, we said before we use it for necessities. Okay, for example, we can say, I have to go to the toilet. I can also say I must go to the toilet, but I think I have the impression that I have to go to the toilet would be more natural. So it's like a necessity. It's like an inner obligation that comes from inside, that comes from inside. I don't have to. If you tell somebody, for example, you don't have to. You don't have to ask questions. You don't have to ask questions. If you say you don't have to ask questions, differently from Italian, which would translate into non devi fare domande, sembra più un obbligo. In inglese, you don't have to ask questions, significa puoi fare domande se vuoi, ma non devi per forza fare domande, ok? Non sei obbligato. So that's why I was saying before, you're giving the person the option. You're giving somebody the option. So I have to go to the toilet, necessità. You don't have to ask questions. You don't have to go to the toilet. Non devi andare in bagno, nel senso, se vuoi ci vai, se no non ci vai. You don't have, okay? So you don't have to. So here I'm just gonna write option so that you remember, okay? So that we're giving the person the option to choose what to do. A bit different from Italian. Okay, must not. Yeah, if that makes sense. Now let's think about this scenario. You are in a project, I don't know, you work in a camp as an interpreter, as a mediator, and there is a new person that comes. State lavorando in un campo, profughi, state lavorando come mediatori interculturali e c'è un nuovo mediatore, un nuovo collega che arriva e voi gli fate fare il giro della struttura e gli spiegate le regole, ok? Quindi cosa deve fare, cosa non deve fare, cosa devono fare gli ospiti della struttura, cosa non devono fare, have to, must, don't have to, and mustn't, ok? Quindi, you work in a refugee camp as an intercultural mediator. It's your colleague's first day at work. You show him around or her around and tell him or her about the company, the rules of the workplace. Okay, you tell him about the rules of the workplace. Okay, so now let's try to write a few sentences together. One will be with must, one with mustn't, one with have to, and one with don't have to. I'm going to give you maybe, let's say, 3 minutes to think about what to write. If you want, you can write these sentences in the chat, please. I would love if you could, Elisangela, Fabiana, and Shadi. I would love if you could interact, even if you have one phrase, one sentence, that would mean a lot to me. So try to write 4 sentences or even just 1 or 2 using these modal verbs. Again, lavori in un campo profughi come mediatore interculturale, è il primo giorno a lavoro del tuo nuovo collega. Nuovo collega, new colleagues. Gli fai vedere, lo porti in giro, gli fai vedere un po' come funziona e gli racconti, gli dici delle regole che ci sono sul posto di lavoro. Quindi must, mustn't, have to, don't have to. 3-4 minuti da adesso, scrivete le vostre frasi, anche solo una frase nella chat e poi le vediamo insieme. Buon lavoro. Okay, I haven't yet received your sentences, but maybe I can write some here. So you work in a refugee camp as an intercultural mediator. It's your new colleague's first day at work, and you show him her around and tell him about the rules at the workplace, or we could even say at the workplace. So, for example, the for example, you must arrive at 7:55 a.m. So you must arrive at 7:55 a.m. So it's a rule, it's an obligation. You must arrive at 7:55 a.m. Something with mustn't. The refugees mustn't come back to the camp later than 11 p.m. So the refugees, I use the article here because I'm referring to the refugees in that specific camp. So it's not too general. So the refugees here at these in this structure, they in this building, they mustn't come back later than 11 p.m. Okay, so that means they're not allowed. They're not allowed to come back later than that. And then another sentence would have to. The refugees. The refugees have to learn Italian. Okay, so this is a necessity they have. You know better than anybody else that refugees in Italy, especially, they need to learn the language if they want to find a job, if they want to get their documents easily, permesso di soggiorno and everything. They need A1, A1, A2, B1 for the citizenship. So they have to learn Italian. That's very important. And then something with don't have to. Mm, let's say mm, you don't have to bring your own lunch. What does that mean? That if you want, you can bring your own lunch, so you can prepare your lunchbox, sorry, at home. But if you don't want to, don't worry, because there is the camp's canteen, La Mensa, so you can also have lunch at the canteen. So this is the option that you are given. You don't have to bring your own lunch. Okay, so to repeat, you must arrive at 7:55 a.m., so 5 to 8. The refugees mustn't come back to the camp later than 11 p.m. The refugees have to learn Italian, and you don't have to bring your own lunch, meaning that you're given the option. You can bring your lunch if you want. You don't bring your lunch in case you want to take advantage of the food that is provided at the camp's canteen. Okay, so guys, we're going to take our last break. Again, it's going to be a short break, just 10 minutes. It's going to be our last break, and then after this break, we'll just continue until 6 o'clock. So here's the break. We're gonna start now. It's 5:25 until 5:35. Okay, guys, so I'll see you in 10 minutes. All right, here we are again. We are now going to watch another video. This is also a TED Talk, like the one we watched at the beginning of the lesson. Again, this is also about languages, and it's about interpreters. So how interpreters juggle two languages at once. Come gli interpreti riescono diciamo, destreggiarsi con due lingue contemporaneamente. It's 4 minutes. I'm gonna put subtitles in Italian, but the video, of course, will be in English. I'm gonna share my screen with you so we can watch the video together, and then, if possible, we can have a brief discussion in the chat. Let's watch the video. Okay, I'm just gonna make the screen slightly bigger. Okay, let's start.
In 1956, during a diplomatic reception in Moscow, Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev told Western Bloc ambassadors, "Мы вас похороним." His interpreter rendered that into English as, "We will bury you." This statement sent shockwaves through the Western world, heightening the tension between the Soviet Union and the US, who were in the thick of the Cold War. Some believe this incident alone set East-West relations back a decade. As it turns out, Khrushchev's remark was translated a bit too literally. Given the context, his words should have been rendered as, "We will live to see you buried," meaning that communism would outlast capitalism, a less threatening comment. Though the intended meaning was eventually clarified, the initial impact of Khrushchev's apparent words put the world on a path that could have led to nuclear Armageddon. So now, given the complexities of language and cultural exchange, how does this sort of thing not happen all the time? Much of the answer lies with the skill and training of interpreters to overcome language barriers. For most of history, interpretation was mainly done consecutively, with speakers and interpreters making pauses to allow each other to speak. But after the advent of radio technology, a new simultaneous interpretation system was developed in the wake of World War II. In the simultaneous mode, interpreters instantaneously translate a speaker's words into a microphone while he speaks, without pauses. Those in the audience can choose the language in which they want to follow. On the surface, it all looks seamless, but behind the scenes, human interpreters work incessantly to ensure every idea gets across as intended, and that is no easy task. It takes about 2 years of training for already fluent bilingual professionals to expand their vocabulary and master the skills necessary to become a conference interpreter. To get used to the unnatural task of speaking while they listen, students shadow speakers and repeat their every word exactly as heard in the same language. In time, they begin to paraphrase what is said, making stylistic adjustments as they go. At some point, a second language is introduced. Practicing in this way creates new neural pathways in the interpreter's brain, and the constant effort of reformulation gradually becomes second nature. Over time, and through much hard work, the interpreter masters a vast array of tricks to keep up with speed, deal with challenging terminology, and handle a multitude of foreign accents. They may resort to acronyms to shorten long names, choose generic terms over specific, or refer to slides and other visual aids. They can even leave a term in the original language while they search for the most accurate equivalent. Interpreters are also skilled at keeping aplomb in the face of chaos. Remember, they have no control over who is going to say what, or how articulate the speaker will sound. A curveball can be thrown at any time. Also, they often perform to thousands of people and in very intimidating settings, like the UN General Assembly. To keep their emotions in check, they carefully prepare for an assignment, building glossaries in advance, reading voraciously about the subject matter, and reviewing previous talks on the topic. Finally, interpreters work in pairs. While one colleague is busy translating incoming speeches in real time, the other gives support by locating documents, looking up words, and tracking down pertinent information. Because simultaneous interpretation requires intense concentration, every 30 minutes, the pair switches roles. Success is heavily dependent on skillful collaboration. Language is complex, and when abstract or nuanced concepts get lost in translation, the consequences may be catastrophic. As Margaret Atwood famously noted, war is what happens when language fails. Conference interpreters, of all people, are aware of that and work diligently behind the scenes to make sure it never does.
Okay, so in the video they spoke pretty fast, but I think you get the general idea of how difficult interpretation is, especially when done in front of a very big audience. Now, the work of an intercultural interpreter usually is not in front of a big audience, but the interpreter also has to deal with new words, maybe technical words, and that you don't really have a correspondence in the language you are translating into. So what are some of the techniques we use in these scenarios? Well, when if a very technical word is thrown there in Italian, we might ask for some time to look it up, to Google it, and see what is the best correspondence in the second language, in the language we are translating into. But at the same time, it's also true that we might find the perfect correspondence, but it's the person we are translating for really going to understand what we're saying? What technique do you use in this scenario? So what do you do when you have to translate a very technical word in Italian that doesn't really have a correspondence in Arabic or in Brazilian, or maybe that the correspondent word would never be understood by the person? What do you do? How do you translate it? If you want, you can also leave it in the comments. Okay, you can put it there if you'd like. Maybe one technique could be the one of explaining the term in simple words. And I'm sure that you are already familiar with that. You explain the same word, you break it down into smaller pieces, into smaller chunks, and you try to help the person understand the message. So at the end of the day, you'll find yourself conveying the same message, but in a different way. So that's what the mediator does. You're not only translating, but you are an intercultural mediator, meaning that you are switching from one culture to another culture, from one background to another background. Understanding the person's background will help you also explain difficult words in a simple way, but at the same time, making sure that you are not watering down the meaning of the word. So you're not making it less powerful or less important, you're keeping the same degree of importance, but you're just making it easier for the person to understand. This was a very interesting video. I'm sorry we couldn't talk about it a little bit more. We can maybe watch another similar video now. Just give me a second because I had another video in mind. It was mm, mm, mm. All right, there was this one. Maybe we have time to watch maybe 5 minutes of this one. It says why love is harder in a second language. We're gonna just start it, but I'm gonna share the link in the chat so that you can also have a look at it later. Now, again, I'm just gonna put Italian. This doesn't have subtitles in Italian, but it does have subtitles in English and Arabic. So, Shadi, if you want to watch it again, maybe with subtitles in Arabic later. But for now, I'm just gonna put subtitles in English, okay, so that it can work for everybody. I'm gonna share my screen with you. We're just gonna watch a few minutes of this one. And then you can continue watching at your own convenience. Let's start.
But sunny
Why love is harder in a second language.
autumn afternoon, I was riding on the back of my husband's motorcycle, just cruising along one of our favorite routes around Newcastle. It was a pretty fresh day, so we were all rugged up in our protective gear. At a set of red lights, my husband lifted his visor and he said to me, "Hey, come feel my handles." So naturally, I reached for his hips and gave them a playful squeeze and said, "Oh, these handles are perfect, baby." What he, of course, meant was his heated motorcycle handles, not his love handles. Yeah. A classic and genuine misunderstanding, and lucky we both have good humor, otherwise this could have ended in an argument. But interactions like these happen every day in intercultural relationships. This is not unique to us, of course. In fact, 1/3 of Australian marriages are intercultural these days, according to the ABS, which means we've never been more intimately connected across the globe than we are right now. What I didn't tell you so far is that I'm from Austria, so my first language is Austrian German, and my husband is from Australia, so he speaks English. So these kinds of conversations, misunderstandings, long explanations of jokes and words shape our relationship. By a show of hands, who in here knows at least one intercultural couple? Maybe it's even you. Yeah, exactly. Now, in my research with intercultural couples, I found many beautiful aspects of having two different languages amongst partners, but also quite a few challenges that monolingual couples don't necessarily have to face. Let me ask you this. If you cannot flawlessly communicate with the person you want to be closest to in this world, how does that affect your relationship? This is what I'm going to answer for you today. I speak 6 languages, and I focused my studies in linguistics, and I worked with intercultural couples to uncover their language behavior and their dynamic. So let me take you on a journey today through the science behind all of these love handle stories out there. I'm going to let you in on 3 specific challenges that intercultural partners have to face on a daily basis, but sometimes don't even know that they're facing them. Some of these are very, very hidden. Now, I'm focusing mostly on romantic relationships here, but you can apply this equally to intercultural friends or even workplace encounters. Oddly, these domains sometimes overlap. The first challenge I'd like to share with you today is how different languages carry different emotional weights for people. What does that mean? It basically means that when I say I love you in English, it doesn't feel the same as saying ich liebe dich for me as a German speaker. That's because language isn't just a tool for communication. It shapes our emotional experience. And our first language usually evokes the strongest one. That's why a declaration of love, which is such an emotionally charged statement, usually holds more weight for someone in their first language than in any language learned later in life. Now, I grew up with the words ich liebe dich from my parents, so over the years of my life, these have gained an emotional weight beyond what any other language can achieve for me. So what does that mean for intercultural partners now? Imagine a Japanese-French couple and they speak English together. Are they unable to communicate the true strength of their feelings because of this language distance? Now, my husband and I, we mostly speak English together. Does that mean when I say I love you in English, it means less because I'm emotionally detached from it? We can observe this also with other emotions. For example, something that comes up in relationships, anger, frustration. Now, with anger, it's very often a totally different experience in English. It's very often the impact that matters more instead of the words. It's the classic, honey, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. Sound familiar? Yeah. Let me give you an example. Early on in my relationship, during an argument, I dropped a certain C word. I'm not gonna say what it is, you all know. Now, at that time in my relationship, I had no grasp how offensive that word is in English. To me, it was just 4 letters stringed together, just something I heard around the street here in Australia. I had no emotional connection to it. But my husband, he was shocked, and rightly so. I've never used it since in any context. But that's the thing, when intercultural partners fight, we have to think of many things here. Is the word choice right? Mine clearly wasn't. How does that word land on the other person? So what's the impact? Mine was clearly horrible and misdirected. And thirdly, what is the delivery of it all? So what's the intonation? Is it too strong, too weak? And that's where intercultural partners, they bring their language background, they bring their cultural background to one table and have to negotiate this in a heated moment at the same time. There's too much happening. Now, fighting is already difficult with monolingual partners, but adding all of these elements, that requires a lot of communication. But let's be honest, who actually sits down to determine the terms of a fight before a fight, right? Doesn't happen. The second challenge I'd like to share with you today is humor. Making each other laugh is a big part of relationships, but humor often doesn't translate very well. Sometimes a joke is funny in one language, but it falls flat in another, or it could be quite offensive. Now, linguistically, we can break this down into 2 parts, into receiving humor and producing humor. From a receiving side, a partner might feel unsure if they grasp the true meaning of a joke or just a superficial facet thereof. That could be a purely linguistic issue, like not picking up on sarcasm or not recognizing a pun because the language skills just aren't there yet. There's also the cultural aspect, of course. Partners with different language backgrounds naturally grew up in different in-groups of a joke, so the people that understand a joke and the people that don't. I never understood why the Aussie phrase shrimp on a Barbie isn't actually funny to Australians. It actually quite annoys them. My husband doesn't understand why the super cringy, nostalgic 90s TV show Liebesgeschichten und Heiratssachen is so hilarious to me. Different in-groups. That means that intercultural partners have limited common ground to work with here. And if one partner doesn't understand the joke, the other is stuck trying to explain it to them, and that conversation is never funny. From a producing side, we all know that producing humor in a second language is an incredibly difficult skill to master. There's so many elements to get right. The subtext of a joke, the punchline, the context, the delivery, all while making sure that it's appropriate and, well, funny, right? Now, in my...
All right, guys, it's a very interesting video. Thank you, Shadi, for the message. Especially if you are in a bilingual relationship, romantic relationship as well. But these, as the speaker said at the beginning of the video, these also applies to work environment as well. So very interesting videos for everybody, and very also fitting for your job. We are going to stop here for today. It's almost 6 o'clock. Thank you very much for connecting. I hope maybe we'll have more interaction in the next lessons that will be in person at school in Macerata. But again, thanks for interacting in the comments, in the chat. Thank you, Elisangela. Muito obrigado. Shadi, thank you very much for the few messages you sent. Yeah, they were nice, much appreciated. Thank you, Fabiana, for connecting to the lesson. And I hope to see you soon, guys. Maybe in Macerata, maybe in person. Have a nice evening. Okay. Bye, everybody. Bye bye. Thank you, Shadi. Goodbye.